You don't understand now because you're crying. You hurt. You'll understand soon enough. Soon enough.
Soon you'll understand. Jay-Z there. Welcome back, hardcore and casual gamers. I am Fox at FOXY Games UK, your regular aggregate source of the latest game news, rumour and video game discussion with an emphasis on PlayStation but spanning a variety of platforms. Remember, views expressed in our videos are those of third parties and do not necessarily represent the views of FOXY Games UK. Keep up to date with all the latest game news, rumour and shenanigans. Follow me via Twitter at FOXYGames_UK. All relevant links can be found in this video's description. PS4 or PS Thor, because Sony seemed to be marvellous at shifting a crazy amount of consoles worldwide with the PS4 generation, and like Thor, hammering the competition in terms of global install base. Which brings us to our first news item, to PS4's resurgence in Japan. Courtesy of JewelShockers.com, PS4 and PS4 Pro sales have collectively passed 6 million units in Japan just after a solid second week of 2018. Media Create released its new hardware sales chart for the Japanese market, and combined with historical data, it revealed that the PS4 had reached a new milestone on the local shelves. Sony's console passed 6 million units sold through to customers in Japan, to be more precise, counting the 43,808 sold between January 8th and January 14th. That's 6,027,894 million PS4 units have found their way into Japanese homes to date. These numbers are for the whole PS4 family, with 567,563 of the units sold through being the PS4 Pro. PS4 had a rather weak launch in Japan back in February 2014. This was mostly due to the fact that at the time there was very limited number of games by Japanese developers that the local fan base actually wanted. Now, following the initial spike, sales dropped to a trickle until the game's lineup broadened and the first price cut revitalized the unit sales. Now, the situation is very different, with the PS4 family of consoles doing quite well in the region despite the strength of newcomer Nintendo Switch that actually forced Sony's offering into second place during the whole holiday shopping period. PS4 and PS4 Pro combined sold 1 million units over the last 6 months after achieving 5 million in July 2017. That being said, it'll be interesting to see if the console will pick up momentum, considering that next week it's getting a 10-ton Gorilla or maybe a 100-ton Rathalot with Monster Hunter World. That'll be an important indicator to see how much steam the console still has in Japan nearly 4 years since its local release. Now, according to data from Sony Interactive Entertainment, the PS4 family's worldwide sales recently passed 73.6 million units and has reached another sales milestone in Japan with 6 million units in its lifetime since it released on the local market in 2014. Great news for Sony Japan there, and globally unstoppable. Moving on to our next segment of news, PS4 and Xbox One. That generation is past its peak and the countdown for PS5 and Xbox 2 begins. Sony and the PS4 had a terrific 2017 and went on to sell 20 million units, while the Xbox One lagged slightly behind most of the year but still managed to beat the PS4, largely due to the Xbox One X during the month of December in the United States. However, the year 2017 belonged to one Nintendo Switch, who came out of nowhere really to capture the hearts and minds of the entire gaming community. The Switch has done tremendously well for a console which was first considered to be dead on arrival. Indeed, the Switch has defied expectations with some amazing software and has gone on to sell more than 10 million units in its launch year. With everything that is going on, at really best at times hard to remember that the PS4 and the Xbox One came out at the end of 2013. Come November 2018, both consoles will be 5 years old, and this raises a very important question of whether we will be seeing a PS5 or an Xbox 2 somewhere around 2020. Now, there have been rumours that Sony is actually looking to release a PS5 in a couple of years' time. That's around 2019 holiday period, with even PlayStation boss Sean Layden saying that it was in the works but would be some time before we see its release. However, any 9th generation consoles released has really been made tricky due to the change in the console cycle. Both Sony and Microsoft have opted for mid-generation upgrades with the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X. Both the consoles make use of a 4K technology, which in layman terms results in better graphics and fidelity on your TV screens. One would assume that these mid-generation updates would affect the release dates of potentially PS5 or Xbox 2, yet that might not be necessarily the case. According to Christopher Dring, who is a publisher at GamesIndustry.biz, the PS4 and Xbox One generation is now past its peak, and the countdown now starts for a PS5 and an Xbox 2. Interestingly enough, Dring raises a very important question with the Nintendo Switch's success. Does it make sense to go for more power? Here is a console which in terms of hardware is significantly weaker than both the Xbox One and PS4 standard, and yet it has had an amazing year and has gone on to sell in excess of 10 million units. Now, there have been previous suggestions by industry experts such as Wedbush Securities' Michael Pachter and IDC's Lewis Ward that a potential PS5 might be a couple of years away, with the former opting for a 2020 release date with a backward compatibility PS5 and later predicting a 2021 release for the prospective PS5 and Xbox 2. Technically speaking, the 9th generation of video game consoles is already underway with the Nintendo Switch, despite the fact that in terms of hardware it performs as a 7th generation console, which remains to be seen is whether Sony and Microsoft will follow suit with an announcement in the year 2019 and possibly an early 2020 release. After all, Nintendo launched Nintendo Switch in March, which really worked well for them. They didn't have to wait for the holidays. I believe that Sony has a ton of amazing exclusives for the next couple of years, and hence they can keep their user base engaged for the next future. Hence, they don't really need to announce a PS5 anytime soon. However, the same cannot be said about Microsoft, and it needs to be seen whether powerful hardware alone can sustain the Xbox brand for the next couple of years. Either way, I think both consoles will come out somewhere around 2020. Until then, both the companies will look really to rely on their mid-generation upgrades, and in the case of PS4, their amazing lineup of exclusives. And that's where the article ends. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments. As before, I already have some insider information regarding the PS5, and it could possibly come out at holiday 2019 or early 2020, as I've stated numerous times. But in this business, you never know. I mean, the PS4's a proverbial cash cow, and why kill something that's producing the goods, right? But that unfortunately brings us to the end of another video, but let's continue the discussion though. Share your thoughts on all of today's news stories in the video comments, and for more PS4, Switch and Xbox One news, subscribe to Foxy Games UK. And if you found any of the information in this video at all useful, hit the like button and help us reach more like-minded gamers simply by sharing the video. You can also help the Foxy Games UK channel grow via Patreon. We only offer a one-tier $1 pledge, and you can find the link in the description. Thanks for all and any support. And so there we have it. Until next time, remember, play games, not corporations. Thanks for watching, everybody.